Yeah, there was white smoke today. Let's talk about this new pope. Um, I know it's early. I know he just got chosen, Robert Prevost. He's the first American pope, a guy who actually hails from outside of Chicago, where I'm at too. It's kind of like I'm the pope in that sense. He's from the south suburbs of Chicago. He's actually, Dalton, Illinois is actually one of the textbook examples of white flight, where this pope grew up in a city that was predominantly white, and a lot of those people left when black people started moving in. I'm really curious how any of that racism affected him growing up, how it impacted him. I don't know the answer to that, but I found that interesting. I'm also very curious. A lot of times, especially in the past couple of popes that we've all been conscious of, they're very different from when they enter the office to once they're in that position. They sometimes make some surprising decisions. One of the reasons Pope Francis made as many headlines as he did is I don't think people really realized when he got elected, just controversial is the wrong word, but how much of an impact he would make with some of the statements he made early in his tenure. And I don't know what the situation is going to be with Prevost. I don't know necessarily what his stances are on a whole variety of things. I do want to draw your attention. I've seen so many memes. I want to show you some of the memes. But I did see a lot of people just assuming this guy is some liberal, woke, everything. Maybe because he's from America, maybe because his Twitter feed, because he has one, has condemned J.D. Vance when he was going after refugees, Haitian refugees in Ohio. And he literally wrote out the tweet calling him out on that. He has retweeted some of the things Pope Francis did and the church did, supporting refugees and migrants and people like that. So in that sense, I guess, yay, compared to the alternative. But let me just point you to a New York Times article, right? That came today, because what do we know about this guy when it comes to LGBTQ rights, things like that? Well, this is what he said a few years ago, 2012, addressed to bishops. He lamented that Western news media and popular culture fostered sympathy for beliefs and practices that are at odds with the gospel. And he specifically cited the homosexual lifestyle and alternative families composed of same-sex partners and their adopted children. So on the one hand, that's totally what you would expect a Catholic leader to say, but also that's disturbing, but also it's 2012. I mean, when Obama got elected, he was against gay marriage. You know what I mean? So that stuff is disturbing. I don't know what it means now that he's not trying to suck up to anybody. He's at the top of the pyramid. You have to wonder, especially given what Pope Francis did since then, does he make any changes with regards to homosexuality, how the church treats people? What does he say about trans people? You know what I mean? The Catholic Church right now does not believe trans people are real people. They don't believe trans people exist. And we know what they think about married, same-sex marriage. We know what they think about gay people who have sex. It's all the worst kind of sins. But who knows what they do, because they have a priest shortage. And so maybe they change the rules, bend the rules a bit. Maybe at some point they allow married priests to enter the priesthood. Who knows? So you don't necessarily know what this guy's going to do. I don't think people knew about what Pope Francis was going to do until, I think, the Who Am I to Judge, that was like the first big bombshell headline during Pope Francis's reign. That came 6 months after he was elected Pope. So just because this guy said this in 2012, I don't know where he stands on the issues now. As my friend Callie pointed out also online, I've seen a lot of liberals jumping to defend this guy, very excited. A lot of politicians not just congratulating this guy on becoming the first American pope, but really acting excited, like this is going to move the church in a super progressive direction. The Catholic Church has been a bad institution on a whole host of issues. That was true before Pope Francis entered the picture. That is still true as of yesterday, and it's going to be true tomorrow. When it comes to civil rights, when it comes to the treatment of women, when it comes to abortion and birth control and contraception, when it comes to LGBTQ issues, the Catholic Church is arguably the biggest enemy in the world when it comes to those issues. That has not changed. And there's no reason to think this Pope is going to be any different on those issues than anyone else who could have been in his shoes right now. So the Catholic Church, still a bad organization. I quoted my friend Callie here. One of the things Callie pointed out is for an institution that doesn't think trans people even exist, what are they doing today? They're expecting you to call this guy by his chosen name and identity, one that he did not have yesterday, and no one's questioning it whatsoever. But the point is, okay, everyone thinks this guy is super liberal and super woke. The Catholic Church is not a woke institution in any sense of the word. If they're saying that, what they're thinking is, oh, this guy doesn't spend all of his free time just trashing LGBTQ people. He doesn't spend every waking hour just pushing culture war issues. It seems like his background is helping the poor and helping refugees. And he moved from the United States to Peru to work. Like, in that sense, okay, relative to other people in the Catholic Church, this guy might be slightly liberal on some issues, but by and large, Catholic Church is not your friend. It's not a great institution. So keep that in mind. Like, don't pretend like this guy's your hero because he's going to milkshake duck real quickly. You know what I mean? I did see some fun tweets about this that I had to share. If you haven't seen these already, because we can enjoy some stuff. We can have a little bit of fun with this, right? I like, well done, social media person for Popeyes. You know, they were sitting on that one for weeks. There is also this interesting thing. The Pope went to college at Villanova and has a degree in mathematics. So he doesn't just understand sin, he understands cos. Math joke, well played, love it. Laura Loomer, the right-wing zealot, already called him woke Marxist Pope. And you could sing that to the tune of Pink Pony Club. Love it. And I saw this right away after this Pope got picked. This is from right-wing MAGA zealot dude Joshua Feuerstein. For all of those saying that the Catholic Church is the true church, why can't you guys even elect a non-woke Pope? You're telling me the representative of Christ on the earth is woke? Yeah, man, the Jesus guy you talk about was a brown-skinned Middle Eastern who helped the poor and wanted you to help refugees. So, I mean, the same people who are like, this guy's too woke, in theory, they worship someone who they would say the same things about. But part of me also thinks if guys like him are mad about this Pope, that makes him sound awesome. Steve Bannon said this would be, if they chose this guy, it would be the most progressive Pope ever. It's like, well, if Steve Bannon is upset, maybe that's a good thing. What else do we need to know about this guy? He's only 69 years old, which means he could be around for, I don't know, another 20 years. Like, this guy is going to be Pope for a while, assuming his health is there. He's served, one of the reasons he got picked is because his job was to help the Pope appoint new bishops. And in that capacity, he got to know all the players. I thought about, remember when George W. Bush was running for president in 2000 and he had to pick a vice president? Who was in charge of his vice presidential selection committee? Some dude named Dick Cheney. And they did all of this. And Dick Cheney at the end of that whole thing was like, you know who you should pick for VP? I'm right here. And that's what ended up happening. Well, Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV, he was a guy who helped the Pope select the bishops, which means he knew all the players everywhere. And the fact that Pope Francis put him in that position kind of makes it seem like Pope Francis anointed him as like, I want this guy to be my successor, which even if that was subtle, that is how it played out. So that's interesting as well. One of the things that is interesting that you will see in a lot of articles is that in that group of people who helps select the next bishops, there were 3 women added to that committee. Like famously, the cardinals who choose the next pope, they're all men. You have to be a man. Spoiler if you saw Conclave, very interesting movie. But when it comes to selecting the bishops, Pope Francis allowed a few women to be part of the selection committee for that. And this is the thing this guy was in charge of. So some people are intrigued about what that could possibly mean for the future. And also, if I've seen this today, if you look back, this guy has some connection with, like, I don't know how serious this is, but covering up bad behavior by other Catholic leaders where he didn't do enough to go after them. I mean, this is going to be, I don't know enough about that to say more, but like, this is going to be one of the big issues. If you became in charge of the Catholic Church and you believe everything the Catholic Church teaches, what are you going to do to throw the hammer down when it comes to sexual abuse? I mean, what can you do at this point to make sure this is no longer a problem in your institution? Because you have now seen decades and decades of how the church handled this issue or mishandled this issue. You now have the power to do something about it. And you have to wonder, what is this guy who, born in the United States, lived in the United States, lived in Peru? He knows about these issues. He's dealt with these issues. What's he going to do about it now that he's in charge? Right? And I don't know the answer to that. Maybe he's not doing enough. Maybe he will actually try to do something. But I mean, imagine waking up today, going from an unknown but high-ranking Catholic leader to probably the most famous person in the world. You have the ability to influence a lot of people on very important issues. And we're going to find out soon enough what this guy is going to do with that power that has now been handed to him. I hope he does something good. But again, I want to remind you, do not treat this guy as if he is some hero. Not yet. He hasn't done anything yet. But at the end of the day, this guy is still anti-abortion, anti-same-sex marriage, anti-trans as a people. He doesn't think you should use contraception, or Catholics should use contraception. He doesn't think birth control is okay. This is someone who is, I mean, again, there are some issues that the Catholic Church is very good on: the death penalty, the environment, science, by and large. But there are a handful of issues where the Catholic Church has held us back for a long time. And this guy's going to continue down that route, no matter what else he does on the margins. So anyway, it's early. I don't know what this means. I am amused by people trying to impute whatever beliefs they have or they want to believe about the Pope onto this one dude. So we'll find out eventually. It'll take some time, but yeah, don't get too excited by this guy. Maybe better than the alternatives, but again, being a great Catholic leader, if you are a liberal, is like rooting for a moderate Republican. There really aren't any left. And the best thing you could say about a moderate Republican is that they're not quite as insane as all the other Republicans. It doesn't mean you should ever support the person. And if there were a sane human being on the ballot, I would take the other side every time. But given the alternatives, it could be worse. It's just not great. This is interesting. Has Trump taken credit yet? He hasn't. He's issued a congratulatory tweet, or a social media team issued a basic congratulatory tweet highlighting the fact that this guy's from America. But if anything, one of the interesting things about this Pope is that by and large, you would expect the Catholic Church cardinals not to choose someone from America. Why? Because the United States is pretty damn powerful across the world. The last thing we need is also to be the home of the leader of the Catholic Church. So they've never chosen an American Pope. And you could argue that one of the reasons they chose an American Pope is because this guy almost stands in contrast to Donald Trump. So in a way, it's possible that the reason this guy got chosen is because you want someone from America who is not Trump. And the rest of the world's like, you know what? If you're going to stand up to that guy and push back against his worst tendencies, we will support you. Also, this dude appointed a lot of bishops. He knows everybody around the world. They like him. He's good at the social game. But it's possible Donald Trump actually did have an impact on this guy getting chosen, maybe not for the reason Donald Trump believes.